session is called the Play to Play workshop. So it's going to invite us to tap into the power of play as a tool for creative problem solving. We're going to explore how play can open up new possibilities and help us tackle challenges with a fresh perspective and energy. So our guest is Jayvn Solomon. Jayvn is a creative strategist and founding director of Lotus Labs, a multidisciplinary studio at the intersection of placemaking, identity design, storytelling, and community. Through Lotus Labs and Loutopia, personal project turned into community platform, Jayvn's work focuses on transforming places and spaces into a creative infrastructure, blending art, sustainability, and systems thinking to spark a more matured and inclusive economy. As an advocate for more sustainable and holistically beneficial futures, Jayvn works with brands and organizations large and small to reimagine possibility through this ethos. So welcome, Jayvn.
Check. Oh, check. What's up, everybody?
Hello.
Y'all all right? Hot enough outside? Anybody from St. Louis in here? Show of hands. If you're not, welcome to St. Louis. This is what we do. We melt your skin off. But I digress. So look, a couple housekeeping things to get started. Actually, 3. First of all, thank you all for being here today. A lot of circumstances could prevent you from choosing to show up, but you did so anyway, which I and we greatly appreciate. Number 2, you're gonna be moving around, so don't get comfortable in your chairs. I know y'all got snacks and all that, just telling y'all straight up. So number 3, the following may or may not feel, the activities of this session might feel really random, and maybe even sort of pointless or arbitrary, but everything points to this quote that you see on these monitors around the room. Anybody know who Arthur Ashe is? If you're from St. Louis, I hope you do, but I don't judge you too much. Hall of Fame tennis player and activist from St. Louis, the Ville, which is coincidentally a part of town that my family most definitely is from. I kind of grew up in Greaterville, Kingsway area, which to those of you who may not know the area as well, is 16 blocks or so north of here, 100% part of the sort of affected area, not sort of, 100% part of the affected area in the tornado path. So that's very much so where I am from. So without further ado, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can, all right? Everybody lock that in. So, as stated, I am from St. Louis, pretty much born and raised here, and it's not for lack of trying to get out, but I do love this city. You know, we just gotta be honest, right? So, I grew up here, and in my lifetime, especially being from North City, the North Side, depending on what you call it, I have seen a lot of change in the physical landscape. And I've seen how, whatever has caused that change, whether it's divestment, whether it's neglect, whether it's just kind of chilling, no true reason, it's just kind of chilling as it is, but I've seen how the physical environment can affect people, right? People's morale, people's sort of spiritual energy, their attachment to the city. And I've witnessed this in myself, which, I subtly hinted that I've wanted to leave a few times, but obviously I'm still here because of spaces like this. So I've been an artist my whole life. It's not really an occupation. Like I have trouble calling myself an artist because I've literally been drawing since I was like 3 or 4. Like whenever one's first memories start up, that's when I remember starting to draw. So my whole life has been this sort of creative exploration. I have my BFA in graphic design, and my professional background is in architecture design, and specifically destination design. So for those of you who are here, the St. Louis Aquarium is a big project that from the logo to the signage, exhibits, experience itself, I was part of at a previous job in a previous life. I can't legally claim that, but very much so had a huge hand in that. So this is to say that I'm very privy to how to use design to inform experience and ultimately the psychology and sociology that all goes into that, which if you'll believe it, a lot really does go into that. So having done all of these projects professionally, like the St. Louis Aquarium locally, but also internationally, the thought was like, all right, so if we're putting this aquarium in a 100-plus-year-old train station, if we are making this giant flame-spitting whale shark, it's in China, but if we're doing all these crazy things, why can't we apply that to our public spaces in St. Louis? You know, what happens when we bring art, nature, sustainable systems together into our public spaces to reflect the talent that we have here, which is a lot. That's a whole different session. But, you know, how can we really utilize these things to improve our physical landscape here in St. Louis to look more like this? And, you know, some of these, you all probably understand what the one in the middle is, St. Louis Science Center. I'm not saying it's a bad place, but this is to say, you know, ranging from the more seemingly neglected spaces to even existing ones, there's still opportunity to use these elements to really dive deeper into methods that get people to want to explore the city more, they want to learn more about the different cultures here and really have a stronger appreciation that's sort of deeper than, you know, we just had this food at this restaurant, or we just had this beer at this brewery, which is great, that's all great, but there's more to St. Louis than that. So this series is one that ultimately I started off some years ago with, and just sort of exploring these questions. And sort of since this series has started, apologies for this video, it's not showing up here, but I've been these questions have taken me to all types of different places and spaces and have helped me cultivate all types of new relationships, ranging from that image on the far left is me working with our MLS team here in St. Louis, STL City SC. At the time, they were about to have an amazing season. I don't want to talk about what they're doing now, but I've worked with them and have done things ranging from creating, I believe, St. Louis's first like art-centric exterior futsal court that's publicly available in a neighborhood called Dutchtown, Marquette Park. I was just at South by Southwest roughly a year ago, sort of doing a similar thing to what I'm doing now. I've had pop-up exhibits based off of this concept, worked with some startups, and even have gone so far as to work with developers. Specifically, this one on the bottom right is a development that is called Gateway South, which is just south of the Gateway Arch. Ultimately, that's about to be like a huge development, so I've worked with them to sort of in a few different capacities. But while all this feels kind of feels like it's bouncing around, the core thing is something that I'm going to have you all do today, sort of the common denominator of all of these, which is to connect, play, and create. Because while I firmly believe that St. Louis is yearning for a lot of things, it has been yearning for a lot of things, certainly in my lifetime, but I think just what's happening in St. Louis is very much so indicative in not only Missouri, but the Midwest, as well as the country, the world. I know this for a fact, you know, having talked to folks internationally, but without further ado, I need y'all to stand up. Okay. So we got 4 tables here, and we are going to get to know some people that we don't know today. So right, sword. I don't know if y'all see these seemingly random objects in front of you at this table here, no? You got 20 minutes to work with these folks at your table to make a toy. That is the one rule, is you just have to use these objects in front of you. So by the way, don't use these, I don't think, right?
If you
Can
want.
they?
I think go for it.
I'm not gonna tell y'all to tear up the house, but.
Yeah.
So you got 20 minutes, no rules, you can borrow materials, do whatever you want, just don't mess up the tablecloth, amen? All right. All right, go. And I promise it's appointed this y'all. Remember, everybody, at the end of your remaining 10 seconds, we need one person to talk about what you made. 3, 2, 1, time. Bakers, step away from your bakes. Step away from your bakes. All right. Yeah? Yeah? Y'all did it. I just brought the trash.
You're under the speaker.
Oh. I got a screw on my ankle. What is going on? All right. You like talking? I like that energy. I like that energy. Can you tell us about what your group has made? You don't gotta be a whole thing.
Okay, this is a car, a toy car, as you can see. It has 4 wheels that can move. This is incredible, beautiful. There's a couple here that, yes, please, go ahead. Can you give this group a round of applause? You've done a wonderful job. The car is well put together, well made. Yes, yeah. So how much do you want to offer for this?
Panoramic bridge below, right? High value.
Yes, it looks like Tesla.
Thank y'all. Can we clap it up for this table here? Dun, da, da, da. How y'all doing? Yeah. Tell us.
We're a new group of communities to set up a new community so I can come up with something that will improve our well-being, our space, food, accommodation.
There's a concept sketch, right? We're not going to downplay that. No, I'm that. Man, 20 minutes and you still concepted this thing. That's dedication.
So, the moment we saw this, it was all inspired by the horn. Now, we got the horn and then we saw, this little box. So he just took the horn, put it on the box and said, oh, this looks nice. And then we came up with a sketch. Now, the sketch was definitely, we used basic shapes and, basic geometry. You can see it's supposed to be a kid's toy, so the simpler the better. You can see circles, you can see, the squares, the cubes, and everything. Now, just like he already said, the concept behind this is, so we're talking about, she named it, right? She pretty much created the mouth, and then he created the legs, and then we all created the, the body and everything. So I did the sketch, and yeah, so it's teamwork.
Sustainable.
Yeah, so so the idea behind this is, while every other person might create something that is, not sustainable, we are creating something that can reproduce, it has life and, kind of being humanitarian as well.
I will never say no to sustainability. Travis, how you feel about talking? Y'all want to go?
He's got the joystick, he's going.
Oh, the joystick.
So, let me get on this side so that you guys can see this is our remote control car, complete with non-working joystick. However, it looks, if you come from a house where mom and dad can't actually afford a working remote control car, we have a state-of-the-art pool noodle with state-of-the-art cardboard one here. Notice how the sheer aerodynamic nature of the car. A bumper in case you get into any accidents or you're, the ADHD type and you purposely intend to get into accidents with your car. Whatever is you. And all powered by, the beauty of our mirror solar power.
Very good. 2 cars, competition.
I got my whole team with me.
All right, this is my fabulous team. We have Juliet, we have Tiara, we have Arbor, and LA. All right, so this is the Fave 5. All right, we're going back to the future. All right, so we have our refueling station here. Have our seaweed in the ocean. And we can go through water and land. Okay. And we have our fireball behind us. And it can pick up speed and it can do all its tricks. And we have our daily log from space here. Okay. All right. Then we have our dispatch center. Because, in order to keep that fireball going, we got to have a dispatch center and refueling station. Because, electronics fail us. Okay. And that Tesla, we all around. So we back to the future. So we got 40 years before us and the future going forward. Okay. So we're going to last to 2095 or beyond. And the phenomenal selling price of this is $2 trillion. All right.
Yeah, why not just round it up to 3 trillion? What's a couple more pennies? That's right. Do we have anybody on Zoom? Appreciate y'all for coming on Zoom. We'll catch you next time with the activity. But look, and can we go back to the presentation real quick, Carmen? Because we're gonna wrap this up real quick. All right, so the point of this is that, outside of this building, I think we all understand there's a lot going on. Yes, is anybody unaware of the events locally, regionally, globally? Great. So, as to not beat that down anymore, new outcomes require new methods. I'm trying to figure out how to say this, right? Without really getting into it, but right now, obviously, a lot of things need to shift, are shifting in ways that, maybe we didn't expect, maybe we didn't want. And one thing that I pretty much based my entire career on, even when I was, I have my own practice, Lotus Labs, and a community platform called Loutopia, which my friend Kiara here is also part of. But in all of this, whether it's designing some type of experience, pop-up, permanent, semi-permanent, whether it's some level of education or experiential workshop, creativity is the root of all things. So when we talk, in my opinion, I think I'm right? It's not an opinion, but creativity is the root of all things, and with everything being designed, especially at a human scale, my belief and personal experience and understanding is that if it can be designed, it can be redesigned. Now, it's very daunting. I'm not going to sit here and talk about, it's that easy, but the way that, and I trust y'all, at this table, do y'all know each other? A little bit. And is that accurate for everybody else at all your tables? Because the world is this big gray place where we don't know most people, fortunately and unfortunately, not in this case today, but we have to work with people that we don't know to figure out new ways of doing things. And in my belief, in a world where we have ample platforms to air out our grievances, ultimately acting on that is the way. And when we talk about rebuilding trust, right, sitting at tables with folks that we don't necessarily know, but look at what y'all did in this 20 minutes. Concept sketches? 2 cars and a $3 trillion spacecraft hybrid? Y'all did that in 20 minutes, right? So imagine what happens when you do this, and we can go down a list of so many examples, but whether it's medically related or health related or more art centric, design centric, creativity in so many ways can aid this. And I do this to demonstrate specifically. It doesn't take much, y'all. I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. All of these are remnants of their activities, right? Whether it's some type of gift, a box from a gift, or I don't know why I got the pool noodles. I won't fake it. But the point is, this is all but trash, ultimately. So you all have literally turned trash into toys and some version of treasure, right? So it doesn't take much, and it doesn't have to necessarily cost much. Obviously, that's contingent on what the issue is that we're trying to approach, but all of this is to say the fundamental way that we can start to, tend to the theme of this day in rebuilding trust, but also, if you want to use the word innovation, if you want to use the word just reimagine, or whatever that language looks like for you, play can and typically is sort of at the root of what that is. And not in a playground sense, if you want it to be fine, but more so just keeping your mind open to connecting with new people and, throwing some trash out at least to ideate and just see what happens. If it doesn't work out, fine. But this is like the basic common thread, common denominator throughout all of these things. Now, without further ado, I'm gonna stop talking. And I know that we are running over a little bit, but I would like to allow, if anybody's got any questions, comments, concerns, life advice, emphasis on that last one. Life advice, okay. No.
So how do you use play? I know you did it here, and this was a workshop, in a setting or in a mental context where we're talking serious.
Do you have a specific example?
Well, it's different when someone was working in hospital.
Yeah.
You know, your structure, and how do you break it down?
Do you know who IDEO is? You do. So I don't get the yes often. So I worked with IDEO. I don't know if I'm technically allowed to say this or not. But they actually had a project here locally in St. Louis with pretty sure it was BJC. And if any of y'all know about this, strike this from the record. All right, so I actually worked with them specifically, an entity that's famously sort of applies this type of method to all types of stuff. So in that situation, it was more so connecting with community members and just getting to know each other at first, and just starting at a high level, how are you, what do you do for fun, that type of stuff, and just funneling it down into the focus, which is we are looking to reimagine how people experience, how the average, I think it was specific to Black people actually, how the people of North City and the northern parts of St. Louis access healthcare because they don't trust this system. They don't, everything. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you something you already know, right? But like, it started out here just at a basic level conversation. We didn't have all of this stuff that we got here, but just having fun and sort of being a bit more playful and informal with conversation, and then just like focusing in. I think the medical setting, okay, yeah, I think that's how that could start to be. I know that a lot of scientists, I hate to paint with a broad brush here, but I know that in the medical field, a lot is at stake. So much is at stake, right? So I in my observation, because I know, a couple of MD students at WashU, and I know friends who have gone on to become physical therapists, occupational therapists, etc. And the common thread is the people that I enjoy anyway, don't take themselves all that seriously, But the work, you know, at the end of the day, medical work is for real, right? We're talking about lives on the line. And I don't think I'm being hyperbolic when I say that. So, you know, just starting off light, I think. Same as any social situation. And I don't want to dive too deep into that because I know that every sort of institution has its own set of things. But I would say just start out with conversation. If there's somebody that's a little rigid, how can we find that common ground? What do you like, Steely Dan? Like, I don't know, that was a random thing, but like, what are these questions that we can start to ask to start to like really break down those barriers so that we can, you know, start to get to the root of why we're here, which is to X, Y, and Z, right? That's a really good question though.